Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, June 25th, 2020. Today I'm going to talk about NFL breaking news from this morning, KBO results from this morning and look ahead to tomorrow. Soccer will recap the games from yesterday, look ahead to today. Golf will give you an update with the leaderboard. We'll preview tonight's episode of Celebrity Watch Party, and I'll do my 2013 Top 10 Artists. All right, breaking news from ESPN's Adam Schefter early this morning. The Hall of Fame game between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys is supposed to be canceled, and the Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony postponed due to a COVID-19 pandemic. This is unfortunate. I don't think this is a bad sign for the NFL possibly being delayed. I just think it's because it's an event that's more than just the game, and it's the ceremony, and due to the health precautions of some of the former players that are a little older. So I personally think that's part of the reason why this game got canceled. It's unfortunate because it's the Steelers and the Cowboys, and normally the Hall of Fame game, if you have one of those teams in it or another big market or a popular team like the Giants, or when Brady was around the Patriots. Last year it was the Broncos and the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know how that would do in ratings other than in Atlanta or in Denver. Maybe if it was the New York Jets even. There's a couple teams that are kind of would be good for a league to be in this game in terms of ratings, but the two obvious ones would be the Steelers and the Cowboys, and they're postponing that game, that Hall of Fame game, until 2021, so that's going to be next year's Hall of Fame game instead of this year, so that's unfortunate news from the NFL. Like I said, I don't think this means that the preseason won't happen or that the season potentially will get delayed. It's still the NFL, but I just think that the Hall of Fame game is more than just the game itself. It's the Hall of Fame weekend, and it's the ceremony, and it's like everybody getting together. So it's supposed to be delayed to August 7th of 2021, so I guess they'll do 2020 and 2021 together next year. So like I said, unfortunate for the NFL, unfortunate for the Cowboys and the Steelers. That's a ratings monster if you get those two teams in any sort of game. Even though it's a preseason game, you know that you have generations of those fans. Oh, and another team that's normally would be a ratings bay for that game would be the Green Bay Packers or even the Chicago Bears. Sometimes even the Minnesota Vikings, because that's another team that has a couple generations of fans as well. So, like I said, unfortunate situation, and I don't think this means a lot in terms of the regular season. But I said this a couple times on the show. I think the preseason will not have fans, but I think that will be up to the teams and each state's government. And the regular season, I think, will start off at maybe 25-30% capacity, and then maybe by mid-season, it'll be higher, and then by the end of the season, they'll be back at full capacity, potentially, as long as if the case numbers continue to drop in certain states. So I obviously want to open up with the Hall of Fame game being canceled for this year as well as the ceremony. Now I'm going to go over the KBO games from this morning and look ahead to tomorrow's games. And obviously tomorrow starts the new series for KBO as they do 3 days, and then off on Mondays. So the results from today, a lot of games today because there's a lot of makeup games. NC over KT 3-1, Doosan over SK 14-6, Kaiwum over LG 5-2, Kia Latte postponed. Those two games are postponed. Hanwha over Samsung 9-2, KT over NC 19-6. Wow. SK over Doosan 7-0, and Kaiwoom over LG 8-5. 5 games tomorrow, new matchups, 5:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. out there in Korea. You have the Dinos and the Bears. I think the Dinos are going to win tomorrow. I think they'll bounce back from giving up 19 runs against the KT. So they're going to bounce back and they'll beat the Bears. You got the Twins and the Wyverns. I'm going to go with the Twins here on the road. They're just better than the Wyverns. You have the Wiz against the Eagles. I'm going to go with the Wiz here on the road. I am starting to like a lot of these road teams. Then you have the Tigers and the Heroes. I'm going to go with the home team here, the Heroes. They're just better than Kia. Although Kia is playing a little better, I just think that Kaiwoom's better. And then last but not least, the Lions and the Giants. I'm going to go with the Giants at home. They're better than the Lions. The Lions are one of the worst teams in the KBO. So I'm going to go with the Latte Giants here. And I'm going to look at the standings real quick because there were some double headers yesterday. So the Dinos are still atop the standings at 30-13. In second place, you have the Kaiwoom Heroes, 28-17. They're 3 back of the Dinos. You have the Doosan Bears at 27-17. They're a half game back of the Heroes, tied in the loss column. The Twins are 25-19. They are 2 back of the Bears. The Tigers are 23-19. They are tied in the loss column with the Twins, although 2 back in the win column. The Giants are 500 at 21-21, so they are 2 back of the Tigers. The Lions are 22-23. They're playing better, to their credit, but they are still 2 back in the loss column of the Giants. Granted, they have more or one more win than the Giants. That's because the Giants had a couple of rainouts recently. You have the Wiz at 19-25. They are 2.5 back of Samsung. You have the Heroes, the Wyverns at 13-31. They're 6 back of the Wiz. And then the Eagles, the Hanwha Eagles, are 11-34. They're 3 back in the loss column of the Wyverns, 2.5 back in general. Okay, now I'm going to go over the soccer games from yesterday, and we'll look ahead to today's games. We'll start with the Premier League and go through those results. You got Everton over Norwich City 1-0. Wolves over Bournemouth 1-0. Newcastle and Aston Villa tied at 1. So that was a draw. Manchester United over Sheffield United 3-0. Liverpool over Crystal Palace 4-0. You have 3 games today, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, so 7 minutes from now, you got Southampton and Arsenal. I'm going to go with Arsenal here, but I don't really feel so strongly about it, because Southampton isn't far from them in the standings, but Southampton gives up a lot of goals, and Arsenal is a team that is pretty even in terms of its goal difference. So I'm going to go with Arsenal here. Then you have Burnley and Watford. I'm going to go here with Burnley. I don't feel good about it, but they are home. So I think that they'll play well and get the win. And then the big game today, 3:15 Eastern Time, Chelsea, Manchester City. That is a sexy, sexy game. Both of these teams are brands in the Premier League. They're well known. But ultimately, it comes down to who's the better team. Chelsea's home, but I really like Manchester City here on the road to pull one out. I think it'll be competitive. A draw would not shock me, but I do think that Manchester City will get the win on the road. So I'm going to parlay Arsenal, Burnley, and Manchester City for the Premier League. I don't know what the number would come out to be, though. All right, La Liga. Osasuna over Alaves, 1-0. Celta Vigo over Real Sociedad, 1-0. Real Madrid over Mallorca, 2-0. 2 games today. You have Eibar and Valencia at 1:30 Eastern Time. I'm going to go with Valencia. They are a much better team. They are the road team in this match, but they just have more talent than Eibar. So I'm going to go with Valencia on the road at 4 o'clock Eastern today. Real Betis and Espanyol. I'm going to go with Real Betis here for the win. Espanyol is the worst team in the La Liga, although you could argue for Leganes and even Mallorca to some degree. But I'm going to go with Real Betis here for the win. So it would be cool if I decided to pull together a 5-team soccer parlay. So here I'm going to go with Valencia and Real Betis. And Real Betis is obviously home for their match. Now I'm going to talk about the Travelers a little bit. Brooks Koepka, we know, withdrew because his caddy got tested positive. Webb Simpson also dropped out because his caddy tested positive for COVID-19 as well. So those are 2 big losses for golf this weekend. I'm just going to go over the leaderboard really quickly. In first place right now, you have Mackenzie Hughes. Second place, Rory McIlroy. Tie for third place with Michael Thompson. Phil Mickelson, who I considered pulling the trigger on for a long shot to win this tournament. Oh my God. Sergio Garcia, Tyler Duncan, and Brian Stewart are tied for third right now. In the 8th place tie, you have Russell Henley, Tyler McCumber, Bryson DeChambeau, and No Seong Yul. In the 12th place tie, it's a big one. Cameron Davis, John Rahm, Shane Lowry, Patrick Cantlay, Brendan Todd, Lanto Griffin, Mark Leishman, and Sam Ryder. Oh, you have one more in there too that I missed. Rafa Cabrera Bello. In the tie for 21st among notables, Ryan Palmer. In the tie for 34th as of right now among notables, you got Danny Lee, Zach Blair, Kim Sai-woom, and Im Sung Jae. In the big tie for 51st right now, and don't forget, it's still early in this tournament. My pick of Dustin Johnson, not off to the greatest start. He's very close to the cut line, so luckily he's on the right side of the line. Robert Sturb's in that mix in 51st. Mark Hubbard, Matt Wallace, Jim Furyk. It's a tough last name to pronounce. And then notables in the E's and the plus ones, Bubba Watson in the tie for 69th. In the big tie for 91st, you got a couple names in there as well, such as Adam Schenk. And it's actually updated to 90th now. And by the way, in the tie for 70th right now, Jordan Spieth and Jason Day, their names I forgot to mention along with Bubba Wallace. Or I'm sorry, Bubba Watson. I had NASCAR on my mind there, thinking of Bubba Wallace. And then notable to not go yet, Xander Schauffele, who many people think has a real chance to win. Justin Thomas still needs to go. Zach Johnson, Justin Rose at 1 o'clock. Ian Poulter, Gary Woodland. So you got some big names that still have to go off. So we'll obviously keep an eye on this on the show, and we'll give you another update tomorrow. Now I'm going to preview tonight's episode of Celebrity Watch Party. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of this show, and there's only about, I want to say, 4 episodes left. So 8 o'clock on Fox, it's a Father's Day watch party. So the Osbournes, Tyra Banks, Reggie Bush, Joe and Michelle Buck, Raven Simone, JoJo Siwa, and Mom. Father's Day watch party. I think you'll see some of the RBC heritage and maybe Joe Buck reacting to that. Maybe you'll see highlights of them watching movies. If I'm not mistaken, Cheaper by the Dozen was on over the weekend on, I believe it was the Discovery Family Channel or may have been TNT. I don't remember what channel it was on. So that's obviously a family type of movie. So that wouldn't surprise me if they show the families watching that movie. You'll probably see more news coverage of recovery to past COVID-19 and the unrest going on in our country. Like the watch party is shown over the last couple weeks. And maybe you'll see a couple random shows. Maybe you'll see the game shows again. So there's been things that have surprised me and things that they have showed on the show. They had the Jersey Shore episode a couple weeks ago. They showed Extreme Makeover Home Edition a few weeks ago, which caught me by surprise. And that shows sharing reruns. I forget what channel those are on. But that's how that ended up on Celebrity Watch Party. So it's always an unknown of what they're really going to watch. But if I had to make a prediction on one thing I know for sure that will be shown is the RBC heritage. Because I just think the return of sports, and I think that it means a lot to Joe Buck, who obviously calls golf, and he normally calls the Open, which Fox has the rights to, has had the rights to for a couple years now, and Joe Buck is great. He's the face of Fox Sports, and I think it'd be fitting if they showed him watching golf on Father's Day, watching his good friend Jim Nantz call the RBC heritage. And last but not least, my 2013 top 10 artists. A lot of honorable mentions, 7 of them. Jay-Z, Imagine Dragons, Justin Bieber, Blake Shelton, Florida Georgia Line, One Direction, and Luke Bryan. And now my top 10. In 10th place, Miley Cyrus. Yes, Miley Cyrus had a very good 2013. She had her album Bangers come out in 2013, which could very well be seen on the albums list tomorrow. Her singles off the album, We Can't Stop, Wrecking Ball, and Adore You, all came out in 2013. In 9th place, Katy Perry. She had a very good 2013. 3 singles off her album Prism, Roar, Unconditionally, and Dark Horse. And Prism could very well be seen on tomorrow's list as well. Number 8 may surprise some of you. Robin Thicke. His album Blurred Lines came out in 2013. All 4 singles off that album came out in 2013, including the lead single Blurred Lines. For the Rest of My Life, Give It to You, and Feel Good. 7th place, Eminem. Eminem came out with an album, the Marshall Mathers LP 2. 4 singles from the calendar year 2013 out of the 5 singles from the album: Berserk, Survival, Rap God, and The Monster. All came out in 2013 as radio singles. In 6th place, Pink. Her album The Truth About Love came out the previous year, but 4 singles off that album came out in the calendar year 2013. Just Give Me a Reason, True Love, Walk of Shame, and Are We All We Are. Or Are We All We Are. That's a tricky thing to say. 5th place, Taylor Swift. Her album Red came out the previous year, but 4 singles off that album came out in the calendar year 2013. 22, Red, Everything Has Changed, and the last time, by the way, it was in the United Kingdom only, but it still counts as a radio single because it hit a radio station somewhere in the world. Number 4, Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars really had his coming out party in 2012 to some people. Although you could argue his 2010 album was his coming out party. But yeah, this is really was, everybody knew who Bruno Mars was with his second album after his first one, or his second one was really his breakthrough album, the Doo-Wops and Hooligans in 2010. Unorthodox Jukebox came out in 2012, but 4 singles were radio singles in 2013. When I Was Your Man, Treasure, Gorilla, and Young Girls. 3rd place, Rihanna. Rihanna had a very good 2013. Her album Unapologetic came out in 2012, but 5 singles came out off that album on the radio in 2013. Stay, Pour It Up, Love Song, Right Now, and What Now. In 2nd place, Drake. Drake has popped up on pretty much every top artist lists I've done since the COVID-19 pandemic. His album, Nothing Was the Same, came out in 2013. And 6 of the 7 singles came out in that year as well. Started from the Bottom, Hold On, We're Going Home, All Me, Pound Cake, The Language, and Too Much. And number 1 on my 2013 top 10 artist lists, Justin Timberlake. Yes, Justin Timberlake gets the nod. He had a 2-part studio album come out, the 2020 Experience, and then there's the 2020 Experience 2 of 2. In the 2020 Experience, 3 radio singles, all from the calendar year 2013, Suit and Tie, Mirrors, and Tunnel Vision. And then the 2 of 2 of the 2020 Experience, 2 singles from 2013, Take Back the Night and TKO. And then the 2020 Experience, the Complete Experience, also came out in 2013 as well. So Justin Timberlake gets the nod here for the top artist of 2013. And so just because it was 2 albums, or technically 3, if you could have the 2020 Experience, Part 1, Part 2, and the Complete Experience, that is very impressive for Justin Timberlake. So that's it on the show today. I know it's a short show today. We didn't have much to do. Tomorrow will be a very busy show. We'll give you picks for the NASCAR races over the weekend, soccer for the weekend. We'll give you a golf update. KBO, we'll look ahead to the weekend's games there. We will talk about more of the sports coming back. Maybe the MLB schedule will be out by the time I do a show tomorrow. So a lot to look forward to on tomorrow's show, including my 2013 top 10 albums. I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.